Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Mark Isaac Potter Presents. We're very honored and quite frankly gleeful that we have our wonderful guest, Lynnea Hagen, who has known me for more than 7.5 minutes.
It's a little bit more than that.
And she and I are going to be talking about leadership. Well, she's going to be talking about leadership, and I'm going to be listening. Ms. Hagen, business coach Hagen, tell us about your current thoughts in the area of leadership.
Oh, I hope we have enough time.
Well, this show, I think I projected this show to last for about a month around the clock. So
okay.
maybe we'll be able to get it.
Okay. This has been a passion of mine for a long time, and I was really surprised as I was going through a lot of my coach certification and also in graduate school, that when I looked at some things and took some tests or qualification questions on some things that really it came out that leadership was where I needed to be. And
Right.
And the reason that that's such a passionate point with me is because I think everybody has been in a situation where they have felt the negative effects of terrible leadership.
I would certainly think so.
It's incredibly painful.
Yeah.
And statistics show that people don't leave jobs, they leave leaders, they leave managers.
Yeah.
And not only is this emotionally expensive for the human being, but is very expensive for the organization and for the business.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Retention and all that is it's a lot easier to retain an existing client than it is to find the new one. So
existing employee as well.
yeah.
You have an unhappy employee, that's a rotten apple spoiling the whole barrel. And there really doesn't have to be any reason for this. If we have people who are in management or leadership positions who are tuned into what it means to really take care of the people that, I don't want to say beneath them, because I think a leader needs to be below and supporting the people that they are managing. But also it's very expensive for the business.
Yeah.
Hiring somebody
What do
new
you
is
think we can
expensive.
do to make it better? What are some things we can do that will make leaders more nurturing and even effective? So
There's a lot, actually. The Secretan Center, I'm a higher ground leadership coach, higher ground coach with the Secretan Center. And there are 6 areas that someone in a leadership position, and we are all leaders in some way or another, need to grow to be more effective and be more inspiring. And everything is built around this inspiration.
okay.
Is there anybody here on earth who's not hungry to be more inspired? I don't think so, especially with the current climate.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah. So that's my passion. Is to help change the world. And if we can make a difference in one person and light that spark in one person, that will help light a torch they can carry out to the community. It can actually impact more people, but we've got to start with one person.
Yeah.
So the first area is courage.
Okay.
And we're going to be talking about an acronym that spells out the word castle.
Okay. I'm going to take notes too, so I can.
Okay. Well, this is being recorded, so.
Well, but I know, but I like to. I like this stuff, and I like what you do, and.
Okay.
So our acronym is going to be CASTLE.
CASTLE.
Right. And the first part, of course, then starts with a C, which is courage.
And I'm going to tell you how this whole acronym came about. The Secretan Center did an inventory of hundreds of people to find out what it is that people hate about the leadership.
Okay.
And the top 6 things were that people in leadership positions, for the most part, have no courage.
Huh.
They won't stand up for what needs to be accentuated or make the right decisions, and it takes courage to do that. And this is probably the biggest thing, is the C in castle. So it's, blatantly they're kind of gutless. They're weak.
Yes, I could use a couple phrases, but they're not printable on.
Yeah. So that's the number one thing is, they're weak. They don't have any courage to do anything, make
Yeah.
some changes and decisions that need to be made. The second piece of it was that they're phony.
Okay.
They have one face for one thing and another face for something else.
Right.
The third thing is they're just self-serving. They're not trying to serve anybody except themselves. And I think we've seen a lot of examples of that.
Yeah.
The T stands for trust. You get to the point where you can't trust them, a lot of it because you don't tell the truth. Trust is huge.
Yeah. Well, and there's very little trust in
It's
many, I won't say all or most, but at least many leadership, non-leadership situations. So.
exactly, exactly. And the fifth piece was that they don't really care about anybody but themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's hard for somebody to be inspired and do the best work and want to show up when they're going into that kind of environment.
Right.
And the last part, they're just really not very effective, not very good at what they do. They don't get the results that they need to get, or that they or they or,
That's
or
some
that they
of
give lip
it.
service to.
And they're just not very good at what they do.
They're not getting the results. Or they say what's going to take place, and that's not happening.
Yeah.
So if you turn all of those around, what's the opposite of each of those? And so
Okay.
it spells out the word castle. It's so the ideal leader is someone who is courageous,
Okay.
is authentic,
Okay.
is a servant,
Okay.
is trustworthy, is loving, and is effective. And I'm going to shine a light on a couple of these. I was asked to do a radio show several years ago. And it was a
Okay.
1 hour live talk radio show. And they asked all the candidates to put in a proposal about what they wanted to talk about with leadership. And I was firm in the idea and the belief that a good leader is a servant. And I thought to myself, maybe that's a little bit too woo-woo or spiritual or something. But I stuck to my guns and I said, no, I'm going to put that in there.
Yeah.
And when they called me and they said, guess what? We would like you to host this show. I kind of went, oh gosh, what am I going to do now? Because I'd never done anything like this before. And, but my belief is if a door opens, you walk through it and,
Yeah.
you can figure it out somehow or
Yes,
get some
or
kind of
not,
training or
or
read
learn
about
from
it.
your
Right.
mistake or succeed or whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. And so I said, why did you choose me? And they said, you were the only candidate that included
Oh,
servanthood.
I'll be darned. That's
And
amazing.
so that was a great boon. And it showed that to me
Yeah.
that this was a radio station. It was internet radio company
Okay.
called gosh, I can't remember now. Voice America, not Voice of America, Voice America. And I had my own
Okay.
channel on
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
So the S, I think, is hugely important. And the other is the L, the love. And there's a lot of pushback on that.
Yeah, I was keeping my mouth shut because it shows about you, not me. So
Okay.
yeah.
I wrote an article
Yeah.
several years ago about love and business. If that's kind of a strange brew.
Yeah.
And the truth is, you think about, there's love in many forms, of course, but
Yeah.
love can mean having concern for the welfare of somebody else.
Right.
It would mean having esteem for them,
Right.
serving them, telling them the
Right.
truth,
Yeah.
wanting what's best for them, wanting what I want for myself.
Yeah.
How else
Yeah.
would you define that but love?
Well, and the other part of it to me is that the very few companies or even situations within companies that I've been in that where love could possibly show up, where the space was good enough that love could show its face, are very few, you know. So I think it's like, I mean, I would make an analogy with candidate Harris in the last election. She came to us, the public, with a campaign that included joy,
Yes.
you know, and I don't remember any candidate ever even mentioning joy, let alone having the campaign, a lot of it be about joy. I thought it was very brave. It was
It
very
was.
advanced, you know, that some human beings apparently had evolved into something better. I'm sorry to say some others have not evolved. And not to get too political, but yeah,
Yeah,
love
we're
is
not
a
gonna
love
we're
is
not
a
gonna get
very
political here.
special part of our lives. I think most people are really uncomfortable talking about love unless it's a private conversation. And Dr. King and Gandhi and uh,
Christ.
Mother Teresa, that guy you just talked about, they all mention it, you know, and we're still uncomfortable with it. So we got a ways
Well,
to go.
that can change. I mean, this changing and
Well, I
the
hope it
work
does, certainly, yeah, and that's why we're doing this. So
with
yeah,
the Higher Ground Pathfinder work that I and many other people around the world are doing, that is changing. And
okay,
why can we say I love you to a close friend? Some people can't even say it to their friends, which is
no,
sad.
I got it, yeah,
And not say that to coworkers. Now, I was fortunate. I worked in a very loving and supportive environment. Believe it
huh,
or not, I was with AT&T and then in Pacific Bell for 17 years. And I
okay,
worked in a small office. Maybe there were 100 of us. Everybody knew each other. We had
yeah,
our own events. We cared about each other. We looked out for each other. And I know it can take place in a business environment.
okay, because you've personally experienced it.
I personally experienced it. And the upper management and the upper management from headquarters to come and visit us and acknowledge that there's something different about this place.
Yeah, okay, good,
And they love to be there.
okay,
And it's funny because even now, and gosh, I left there in 1997. I talked to people who had been in Pacific Bell or AT&T at that time, and they said, "Where did you work?" And I said, "I worked at Lee Avenue in San Jose." And they said, "Oh my gosh, I always wanted to work there."
ha ha, how
And because
beautiful
we
is
had
that?
this reputation. It was a
Yeah,
fun
eh,
place. I mean, we had a heck of a lot of fun, but also, and here's another interesting point. If you have a workplace that's fun, people are more productive. They do better
yes,
work.
yes, and
And
they're
there's,
they're they're more unilaterally willing to go the extra mile
yes,
without even being asked because because like you say. So
we have the freedom to do that and we were
yeah,
cared about.
yeah,
So those are
nice.
two things, and trust, and I know when my mentor, Dr. Lance Secretan, has spoken to CEOs, groups of CEOs, he speaks all over the world internationally to CEO
Yeah, yeah,
and, big, like really big people. And people will push back on some of this. And he'd say, what
yeah,
part of loving each other or trusting each other do you disagree with?
yeah,
Why would you have a problem with that?
yeah. I
And
don't
wouldn't you much
know.
rather get up and spend 8 hours out of your day, a third of your life, in a loving and trusting environment?
Yeah, but it's a rare thing to talk about.
It is.
You're one of the few business leaders that I've interviewed, and I've obviously interviewed hundreds and hundreds. You're one of the few that ever mention it. So,
There are a lot of us around.
well, but it's nice to have you here, and when a person like yourself is inside an organization like Secretan, then you come to feel that okay, this a lot of this going on, but some of the rest of us who are outside of it, we don't hear it very often. So we still, it's very much needed, and it's going to be needed for a long time to come because a lot of the world has no clue about how love relates to business or effectiveness or any of that stuff. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. And the numbers speak for themselves. When organizations that have incorporated courage, authenticity, service, trust, love, and effectiveness
right,
are more inspired. People want to be there. They want to do their best work.
right.
There's a huge drop in employee, what am I trying to say? Defection.
Yeah,
There's a
leaving.
huge increase in
Yeah,
employee
yeah.
retention.
People leaving. Yeah,
There people want to stay there. So and
yeah,
that's hugely expensive to try to hire and train somebody new.
absolutely.
Um, so there's a 50% drop in employee attrition. There was
Okay.
a 50% increase in customer retention
Huh. Wow.
because I can walk into a business and I have, places where there's, some people working a counter, a fast food place or something. And I can feel the difference between a place that has good management where people are respected
Yeah,
and those places that don't.
yeah.
There's an energy. The people behind the counter are griping and complaining. They're not paying attention to the customer.
Well, or they just look like they're under a lot of stress. Their speech is very tentative, and
Exactly.
yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah,
And those places where people are fully engaged and they're having fun.
yeah.
Now, I work for Disney for a couple of different times. And when I was
Okay,
in college, I worked I was a cowgirl and I worked in Frontierland in Disneyland, and we had so much fun. We were absolutely silly.
okay.
And we could take care of thousands of people coming into this little place. I was at a fast food place in
Right.
Frontierland called Oaks Tavern. And
Okay.
I'd be behind the counter and we'd be singing and we'd be,
Ha
just
ha ha.
I mean, that's I wanted to make it fun, and nobody came down on me for doing that. It was so much
Very
fun,
cool. Very cool.
and I thought, why should I settle for less?
Yeah.
Now I
Exactly.
have,
Yeah.
but it
Well,
didn't
we
last
all do
long.
when we have to. Yeah.
We've all been there.
Yeah. We've all been there.
Um,
Very nice.
so there's an increase in employee retention. There's a huge increase in customer retention. There is a growth, a very significant growth in um, the growth of revenue and profit. It
Yeah.
really works because the customers are served better.
Well, and I think a customer that has a truly exceptional experience will go out and mention it to their friends.
That's a very good
So,
point.
people say, I don't know what about that particular Krispy Kreme shop, but boy, they're fun in there. And they say it over dinner with their friends or something. It just, yeah, I think In Search of Excellence said, if you have a bad experience in a company, you'll tell 150 people. If you have a really exceptional experience, you'll tell 12 people. But if you have an ordinary experience, you're not going to mention it at all. So
Right. Right. So
yeah,
I don't know. I guess I'm just me being naive, but I'm always surprised at people and organizations who do things differently, like this old story type of leadership,
yeah,
where you kick butt and take names.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But it's out there, and the old
Oh,
generations from the 30s, 40s, and 50s have turned around and taught some of the next generation to be that way. It's like,
exactly.
why does racism stay with us generation after generation?
A
Because
good
there's
point.
a 30-year-old father out there right now telling his sons and daughters to hate the other guy.
Right.
You know?
It's the
So
same thing. It's all
yeah,
modeling.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It
It's
sure is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So so the caring and the whole thing about courage and authenticity. And When I work with clients, I put them through the gauntlet of let's look at some times when you were courageous and what did that take?
Okay. Now, is that part of the intake generally, or is it deeper into the process? Or
Well, the intake has other things that are part of that, but no, it's part of the process that once they decide that they are committed to growing,
okay,
and frankly, I mean, I don't take any clients who are not into changing
yeah, okay,
because it
good.
makes me look bad, number one, but number two, they're not going to get anything out of it, and I really
Yeah,
want people to expand and grow and
yeah,
have a more positive experience in life. And
yeah.
third of our
Which,
life is spent in doing their job. Sometimes for some people more than that.
yeah, it's probably a good time in the interview to have you tell us a little bit, just a little about what you do. Give us your contact information,
Okay.
even though, of course, it'll be in the video. But tell us who you are, what you do, why someone in our viewing audience would want to call you and avail themselves of your services.
Okay. Well, it says right there, Lynnea Hagen, leadership.
Okay,
I'm I work okay, here's who I work with. My ideal client tend to be people who are attracted to me because they are leaders that are ready to exchange stuckness for passion and joy and purpose.
okay,
Passion and purpose mainly. And
all
when we
right,
have those, we have joy. I created a model called the biosystem of success and joy, and it takes into consideration, and these are areas in which I work, um, strategic business planning, because I'm an expert in the one-page business plan, and these are all the steps necessary to create a vision and then what needs to be done to get there, and who's going
right,
to be involved. But the part that holds everything together is the purpose. And I love working with my clients on higher purpose. You know, why are you here on earth?
right.
And there's a process, couple of processes in order to define that. A lot of people would define their purpose as to be a mother. That's a role. That's not a purpose. Um, to,
Okay,
let's just spread the gospel. That's a role. What is
yeah,
underneath all that? So that is really the part that is really the greatest substance that holds everything together. Um, I work with them to make sure that they are tuned into what their values are, and we all have different values, and to make sure that
right,
wherever they are fits in with their highest values. Like I
okay,
was lucky because I was working in an environment when I was at AT&T and Pacific Bell that honored one of my highest values, which was freedom.
okay.
They allowed me a lot of freedom to do what I needed to do in my own way.
Very nice, very beautiful.
Another one of my highest values is inner harmony. And if I have that churn inside of me, and that's why it's important to have inspiring leaders. When we have that churn inside of us, it shuts down some of our brain in order to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of noise in our brains. And if we, I know there is in
That's
yours. I
actually
know,
not news.
yeah. I mean, I wake up in the morning, I've got so much going on because
Yeah,
I like to have a lot going on and I have a lot of variety in my life. But
yeah.
if I'm stressed out, I cannot put my
No,
finger on one thing I can do effectively or
you
even bring it
can't
to
focus.
mind
You can't
sometimes.
focus. Yeah, you can't focus.
Exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah,
so aligning with your own personal values where you are plugged in for a third of your life is really important.
yeah.
The another piece of it, which is one of my passions, is the whole thing about leadership and building inspiring leadership
Okay.
and inspiring all of us to be leaders because we are all leaders. We all lead a life, right? A
Yeah, we all
child is a
lead
leader
in
from time to
some
time.
manner. Yeah,
And that's all based on the castle principles of courage, authenticity, service, trust, love, and effectiveness.
right, right, right.
And the final thing is to clear out all these roots that feed us or bleed us.
Oh,
If we look at the whole thing as a tree, and my model is a tree,
yes, yeah,
um, what is it of who we are that goes deep down into the earth or where we're planted that is either feeding us or bleeding us?
yeah.
And oftentimes people don't want to think about that when it comes to work.
Well, it gets a little personal when you get into, the roots of our lives. So,
Well, the roots of our lives are going into everything else as part of our life.
Yeah.
People have asked me, am I a personal coach or a business coach?
Yeah.
And I say there is no difference.
Yeah. Okay.
We bring all of who we are into everything we do.
Yep. Yep. And not everybody's operating with that belief, so they don't, they don't see it. They don't lead in the most effective way they could have if they really saw that. A lot of
Well,
a lot of business leaders put on a veneer of whatever their mind says a business leader is, and then proceed to try to encourage people to do a good job when they act like a threat. So
well, nobody wants to do a good job for a jerk.
yes,
Just to
I've
be,
been there. I've been
me
both.
too.
I've been the jerk and I've been the jerky.
Yeah,
Both. Both.
I haven't been the jerk. I'm
Oh, I've been the jerk, I can promise.
maybe
Yeah.
in other areas I've been a jerk, but not when I'm leading others.
Yeah.
We're all tender, you know. I think there's a
Yeah,
lot
and
of
and but
lack of understanding that we're all
society doesn't
tender.
give us permission to say that we're tender.
We're all tender, and we're all complex critters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if we're just being hammered on, you know, and there's some people who have a hammer and everything's a nail. Um,
Yeah.
that what I think is really interesting as we get healthier with ourselves, those type of people tend to be part of our lives less and less because we
Oh,
attract what
yeah.
we are.
Yeah, and as one of my teachers called it self-selection.
It is.
Oh, yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah. Well,
So,
yeah, go ahead.
oh, so that's kind of what I do. My background is in I've have a long business background in small business as well as corporate business. When I was with AT&T, my clients were some of the largest companies in the world, like Hewlett Packard
Mm-hmm.
and Intel and Genentech, you know, the huge biotech company. Um,
Give us your contact information because we're going to wrap here in just a few
okay,
seconds. So.
my contact information, my phone number is area code 408 505 0631.
Okay.
And my email is Lynnea. There it is right there. Look at that. Lynnea. Shouldn't have any problem spelling it. Um, Lynnea 317 at gmail.com.
All right. Well, Lynnea, it's wonderful to have you on the show. Uh, I invite you to do another show today or alternatively as soon as you can.
Okay.
Folks, you may not know this, but our guest today is a major figure in the world. She really is. I know sometimes when we are around a person who is one of the wisest ones on the planet at the time, we don't realize it until they're somewhere else or, God forbid, gone from us. So you would be wise to get on my YouTube channel and watch all the shows that Lynnea and I have done. And by the way, Lynnea, I found this sounds unbelievable. We have 7 shows that we know of, right? That we've
Mm-hmm.
done in
Mm-hmm.
addition to this. If I'm not mistaken, I found 2 that were missing out of the 7.
Oh,
And then I found another show on top of that. So I haven't figured out how to number everything again yet, but yeah. So, but folks, seriously, you're looking at I don't know, the Mother Teresa, John Kennedy, Dr. King of our time, and she's
that's
just
that's pretty
because
heady
she's
stuff there.
just because she's cuter than all the rest of them doesn't mean she's not smart as a whip. Uh, why she lets me play in her same universe, I have no idea. But oh boy.
Okay, I
Anyway,
love you, Mark.
take care. Talk to you soon. Thanks,
Okay,
folks. We love you.
Thank you all.
That's
Bye-bye.
become my closing over the last year, by the way, without even realizing it was going to be part of our discussion. We love you,
Nice.
folks. Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Bye bye bye. Huh.
Are we done? Oh, no.
I'm having a technical problem on my end.
I'm going to go
So,
ahead and leave and I'll call back
yeah,
in.
well, yeah, please do that. Yeah.